healer. So I'd like to start with a centering so we can settle into our bodies, because I really wanted this session to be experiential. So I invite you in this moment to settle into your bodies, feeling yourself coming to a place inside yourself where you're aware of who you are in this moment. And as you settle into your body, feeling yourself moving from ordinary consciousness to an extraordinary consciousness. And as you move into your body, feel yourself going very deep and very wide. And as we move into this place, we are opening ourselves to the possibility of being all we can be in this moment. I'm here because I'm very honored to be invited to talk to you about my work. And my work started many years ago when I became very sick. And at that time in my life, I decided to use art as a way of healing. And I went through a very dramatic and traumatic time in my life. And I started painting self-portraits. And these self-portraits were so powerful and so transformational in my own life that I decided I wanted to create a program in the hospital where I integrated the arts into healthcare. At that time, I met Dr. Jean Watson. I decided to get my PhD, and my chair said, I have a vision of bringing the arts into healthcare. I want to bring musicians, I want to bring dancers, I want to bring poets, I want to bring visual artists. I want us to invite these artists from the community to come in and work with patients, family, and staff. So at that time, I met Jean Watson, and I went to that first opening workshop where she brought in the light from Sweden. And I was one of the students during that time that lit that candle. And I felt like at that moment in my career, she had given me a blessing to bring the light into healthcare. And I did this program at the University of Florida at a major teaching hospital. I went back and met with the medical director at Shands Hospital, and I said, I would like to create a program that integrates the arts into healthcare. So we started on the bone marrow transplant unit. I met with the physician who was the medical director and the nurse manager of that particular unit. And what I did is I did a call to artists in the community where we could begin to see how we can integrate arts into clinical practice. And at that time, we began with a small group of artists that came in, and we worked with nurses. And Caring Science provided the philosophical foundation to create this program at the bedside with patients. What we began to realize when we integrated the arts with patients and their families, nurses held that space to be able to allow this process to happen. Nurses were, in the nursing, it was like I told, when I brought the artists in, we asked people to really work within the dimension of the clinical practice of nurses. And we were able to be in the rooms, be in the emergency rooms, be in all the different clinical settings in the hospital. But our first pilot study was the bone marrow transplant unit. And we started working with the nursing staff, and the nurses became the leaders to integrate the arts into clinical practice. We also realized at that time that art was an opportunity for patients to really get in touch with what they wanted for themselves, in touch with their own creative resources. So nursing held the space for us to be able to do that. This art can be very powerful and very transformative as part of the patient's experience when they're dealing with a bone marrow transplant or a new diagnosis of breast cancer, or they're dealing with a child who is sick and going through a severe illness, or whatever they may be doing. So it was an integration of bringing the art, music, and poetry right to the bedside where patients were. So at that time, that program became very, very popular, and it had a ripple effect all the way through the hospital, and where nurses and physicians, clinicians, and social workers began to honor that there was an appropriate place for the arts. At the same time, when I was doing my dissertation, and I did a phenomenological study on the lived experience of people who could articulate art as healing, one of the themes that emerged was that art allowed people to begin with their own story of their illness, begin with the experience of what they were suffering, and allowed them to go through a transformative process to where what was healing was an expression of their spiritual essence. So many times when I interviewed people who were using art as a way of healing, patients were integrating it into what their faith and trust was connected to. We did a beautiful healing ball at Shands, 16,000 tiles, and it was amazing. The tiles reflected having faith, about their trust in God, whatever their spiritual beliefs were actually shared in the creation of their art. So I discovered by integrating creativity and tapping into the arts, people tap into their deepest faith and their own personal belief systems that are actually amplified when they make art, when they're dealing with their personal suffering. So it was really an exciting time because I wanted to share how powerful caring science was to create the foundation for me to be able to bring this work into the hospital and have a language and an understanding of what we were doing and how we were actually collaborating with nursing, collaborating with the healthcare that was being delivered, and finding our place to bring artists in. Because one of the beautiful things, it became a program, and now there's hundreds of programs all over the country. And there's programs in, bringing the arts in and having artists work at the bedside, bringing in musicians, bringing in dancers. It actually changed the culture of this hospital when we started. It brought in beauty, and it brought in art, and it brought in music. One of the stories was when we bring in the arts, to me, the creative process actually illuminates the spirit of our humanity. And when we invite patients to make art, and families, we invite patients to express their deepest fears and also express their deepest joy. So that was very powerful. So what I wanted to share with you today was a transformative experience, and where I do a guided imagery, and my intention for this time together is how to embody the energy of Caritas in this moment right now. So I'm going to do a guided imagery, and I invite you to sit in your chairs, and I invite you to put both feet on the ground and sit up straight, and take a few deep breaths, breathing in deeply and letting yourself come to rest, allowing yourself to feel the presence. And imagine yourself as a larva and a caterpillar, and you are in the place where you are. And I want you to imagine yourself transforming into the body of a butterfly. And as you move into the space, you are connected to the unitary field of consciousness. You are connected to the unitary field of that oneness. And that you are allowing yourself to be in this space. You are a Caritas nurse, and we are one together in this moment. We are connected to ourselves, and we are also in a moment of transformation. And as we move in this transformation, I want you to feel the infinite field in which you're residing. There's no time, there's infinite space, that you are wide and you are free, and you allow yourself to feel feel yourself emerging brand new. Each one of you is a Caritas nurse. Each one of you is an artist. And each one of you has the capacity to heal yourselves through the expression of your creativity. Feeling yourself becoming brand new, transforming this energy, transforming your presence, transforming your very being, allowing yourself to know that even though we're experiencing the unknown of transforming into something new, there's a moment of darkness, there's a moment of unknowing, there's a moment of having faith and trust that something larger than you knows what you can become and knows who you are. We live in a life-positive world where in your life you are not alone. You are in this moment residing in the unitary field of love and consciousness. For a moment, allow yourself to feel the infinite unitary field of Caritas and love. We are at this moment experiencing a unity, a oneness. In this environment that we're in, we can go deep within ourselves and know that we are also connected to each other. There is beauty in this. We are blessed to have each other. Feel yourself moving into a new form, moving into a butterfly. The butterfly is the emergence of your new self. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. And I invite you to stand up and in this moment, listen to the music. Listen to the music as you open yourself up to the newness of who you are. Gently allowing yourself to move in motion, feeling the newness of your body, feeling the newness of your consciousness, allowing yourself to feel yourself as a dancer, as an artist, as a Caritas nurse, allowing yourself to be open to love. And as you walk in the space, I invite you to look at each other. See who's here in the room with you. Reach out and touch each other. Reach out and feel the connection and the relationship you have with each other in this moment.
Forget the cameraman.
And now I invite you, I don't know if everybody got one, but I made these little pieces of paper that had a butterfly on it. And if you have one, and I invite you to raise your hand if you need one, I want you to write down right now, in sometime today, what you are. I am, that new emergence of being a Caritas nurse, the new emergence of you being an artist, the new emergence of the new you that you can have this day forward for the rest of your life. So thank you very much for honoring this work that we do together. Thank you. I'd like to welcome you to this time that we're spending here in Aqaba, Jordan. Dr. Jean Watts and I are together at the 8th Annual Middle Eastern Nursing Conference in Unity of Human Caring. I had the opportunity to present the work Caritas Path to Peace as sacred activism. And I wanted to share this workshop that we did this morning with you. I want to first start off with that caring science provides the basis and the theoretical foundation and framework for what I believe can bring caring to the world, and how we integrate this theory into our personal lives as well as our professional lives, is so important as we find and experience inner peace within ourselves. So I wanted to take this moment to share with you the Caritas processes and how they provide you the foundation to be able to practice and experience inner peace in your life. The first one is the practice of loving kindness, and how important that is. No matter what we do in our lives, no matter where we are, what our culture, what country we're from, that one of the most universal foundations of peace is simply the practice of kindness. And we had nurses here from Palestine and Israel, and it was very wonderful to really experience the kindness and respect and listening we had among the group. The other Caritas process is authentic presence. We had an opportunity to create a workshop where people were really truly who they were. They told their stories, they told about their experiences, and there was this wonderful experience of hearing from the reality of people's lives and how powerful that was. The other thing that was really integral here was having people tap into and honor their spiritual lives, because everybody comes from maybe a different religion, different traditions, different spiritual practices. But when we honor our spiritual life, and that it's a personal journey, and that it's part of our work that we do, is essential. And the other thing that was really interesting that happened was Caritas 5 was the expression of both positive and negative feelings, because there was an opportunity at this conference where people articulated not only the good things about their practice. Many people talked about, their practices, what their experiences were in hospitals. They talked about the clinical problems in nursing. But the other thing that came up in the conference was people's experiences with the conflicts, with crossing the border, with taking care of making ethical decisions with themselves and their own families, and being nurses and healthcare providers in countries where there's so much tension. So there was an expression of both positive, both of negative, and it was very powerful. The other thing that was really beautiful in this conference that Dr. Watson has hosted through the Watson Caring Science Institute is that it's also a very fantastic opportunity for us to share our creativity and problem solve and look for solutions in nursing practice. And being able to focus on the universal problems that occur in practice and how we can find creative solutions in providing care. And really having caring science be the fundamental, foundational language in which we can speak that crosses borders. So really, how do we find solutions with this common language and this common intention? And the other piece that's really important was teaching and the ethics of faith, and how we can really look into each other's eyes and look into each other's lives and really hear another person's story. And instead of telling people what to do, we're here as in the Watson Caring Science Institute, creating a space where people can find their own solutions, really come up with what works for them and what are their needs, and how we can hold this sacred place for us to create a conference where nurses from all over the Middle East can come and share what's going on and what works for them. And it's more of us not talking at them, but talking with them, and us all talking together. And creating an environment in which we can do this conference. This conference in and of itself is an act of sacred activism, and that would create a safe container where people can bring their work and listen to each other. And then how we can create a healing environment. How we create an environment of trust, of safety, in which people feel comfortable and safe to share their ideas. And one of the most beautiful things that Jean brings to the work is the belief in miracles and honoring the mystery of human spirit and what the human potential can be when our intention is to be a unity and human caring. And I'd like to invite Dr. Jean Watson to start by centering ourselves with the beautiful healing bowl, which is part of the ritual of caring science, and talk about her work in her declaration of peace and how this has been inspired. This has inspired this work. And I've been able to have the blessed experience of traveling with Dr. Watson to be able to experience opportunities like this and bring this and share this with you no matter where you are in the world. Because bringing this work to you brings this work to a greater field in which the time is now to speak.
Mary, thank you. You're always so amazing the way you bring this forth and bring in the arts and the humanities and the beauty of this work, which is we all stand in this place. And I think this forum is really a microcosm that allows us to see each other, to hear each other, to really live out the Care Plus processes. Right. And it's also a way that through these processes, these very concrete acts, they actually are creating trusting, helping relationships. It's sustaining their dignity. It's bringing compassion where they're able to really hear and honor themselves, but each other in all these dimensions. So we begin now with just a kind of a reminder that we stand in this sacred space, no matter where we are in the world. And we ourselves are works of art, the beauty that you bring, just with your beautiful dress to represent this culture and the diversity and the colors that we manifest from our humanity. And so other part of this work that I've been really concentrating on is helping us to make new connections between human caring and peace. When we're practicing human caring, we are contributing to peace in the world. And I shared this morning the journey of the Watson Caring Science Institute work in caring and peace. And explicitly, it began in 2011 when we were invited to offer the International Conference on Caring and Peace, sponsored by Hiroshima Red Cross College of Nursing in Hiroshima, Japan. And then that was followed by a major conference on Ubuntu, which is this ancient African term in South Africa, which is meaning that unites us across everything. I am because you are. And that was followed by a major conference on caring and the sacred dimensions of sacred and science converging with East and West traditions in China. And from there, we went to Chile and began to unite the South and the North with these commitments to healing arts and healing traditions that come from other countries and other cultures. And more recently, we were in Uruguay, again, South America, bringing this work together. So what I shared with the group this morning was the original Declaration for Peace that came from the Caring and Peace Conference in Hiroshima. And that Declaration of Peace is something that we all share, and we all share particularly in this forum, that we all respect that every human being has the right to freedom. Every human being has the right for dignity. Every human being respects and is needed to be heard and seen. Every human being is able to honor themselves and their tradition and have access to services. So a whole tradition of the Proclamation of Peace for Health is part of what we shared this morning. And the details of that are on my website, watsoncarengscience.org. And you can actually join us in actually signing this, because my hope is that this work will actually bring maybe this global human caring and peace together, where we all join as nurses around the globe to have this declaration of caring and peace for humanity and for our world. So that's my way of bringing a new center to the work of caring in our world today and to the future.
Thank you. So I'd like to take this moment to invite you to activate the field in this moment, that we can connect to each other at any moment in time when you're watching this, that you're part of this moment where we're activating the field for caring and peace. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes and go inward into your heart and feel love and peace within yourself. Feeling yourself having this awareness of us being connected to each other right now. One of the things that's so powerful in caring science is that we live in a quantum universe. What happens in this moment between Jean and I is happening in this moment and rippling out to its effect, hopefully to reach you and others wherever they are in the world. And this moment in time, when we gathered in Aqaba, Jordan, the world is at a crisis. There's crises all over the world. We really want to activate this experience, the field of love. So take a deep breath and feel the activation of your awareness as we create an intention together for peace, for caring, for compassion, for love, feeling yourself connected to yourself and expanding this field to around your whole body and expanding it so you can become part of this presence of healing and love. And as we share in this moment, I want to invite you to realize that wherever you are, whatever you do, you are light of Caritas. And Jean, would you also just lead us in a centering of how we can activate this light inside of ourselves?
Pausing, moving from the outer world to the inner world, closing our mind and our eyes to ourselves and our heart center, finding that still point that we all have and can share, knowing we can go there anytime we choose, and just breathe and connect with that still point between the breath, the place where spirit comes in, where creativity emerges, where we connect with source through breath, through pause, through the void. We open up space to connect with that infinite field of universal love that unites and to which we all belong. So from this place, just know that what you're doing right now, wherever you are, if you can radiate this beyond yourself, you're affecting the whole field of humanity for caring and peace for our world. We're bringing closure to this as a way to understand that nursing is the largest health profession in the world. And we can create a moral community of caring for this globe. And this is the time to do it, 2020. International Year of the Nurse and Midwife.
Thank you very much. And may you shine in peace by just being the person that you are. And thank you for listening. And thank you being part of this moment when we're here together sharing this work. We wanted to be able to reach out and share it with you. So thank you very much. And happiness and peace to the International Year of the Nurse and Midwife. Thank you. Namaste.